have, and the topic obviously is going to be about technology. So we are actually going to have an eye care doctor on the show soon, talking about the newest eye care examination technology, because it's quite amazing what's out there, and not many people really know what all that equipment is that we see when we go to an optician or to an eye care clinic.
Yeah.
And so we're going to talk about this. So, but anyway, today we are going to have our show about 3D printing. So we can see here on, what do we have here, Jeremy? What is it?
This is a standard model Creality Ender 3. This is, I would say, just about the cheapest and best sort of consumer mid-grade 3D printer. If you wanted to start somewhere, I'd recommend it here. Actually, Jürgen,
Yes.
if you can operate that, just spin and press like an MP3 player.
Okay.
Go to...
There we go.
That. Okay. That's going to take about 5 or so minutes to heat up, and it's going to heat up to, I think the head Fahrenheit, roughly.
Wow.
So,
wow.
yeah.
So we can see it's a 3D printer. So do you want to explain to the audience what a 3D printer is, what it's for?
Yes. Yeah. I guess we gotta start there.
At the beginning.
So the idea of 3D printing is very similar in essence to a regular print with plastic or ink. It prints with plastic.
Okay.
There are specific plastics you can buy that melt at a very specific temperature, and they re-solidify very quickly when allowed to cool. And this takes advantage of that by laying layers of plastic on top of each other, letting them solidify to build a shape.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it does so by heating it up and pushing it through a nozzle about 0.5 millimeter wide.
So they call this technology additive printing, correct?
Additive manufacturing, yes.
Okay. So basically that means just adding layer on top of each other.
Yes.
And building something up, and that's the finished product.
As opposed to most modern subtractive manufacturing technologies like carving, CNC machining, anything where you are carving a shape out of a block of material. Oh, there it goes.
Nope,
that is called subtractive manufacturing.
Right.
It is very wasteful in general, and it comes with a lot of problems. As in, if you screw up with one piece of material, you are
wasting the whole block.
Wasting that whole block
Let's
of material.
Let's say you have a big block of aluminum, and you're like on the mill, and you make something out of it. All aluminum is
can
you remelt, but some materials you can't reuse. So that's all garbage.
Yeah, it all depends.
So this saves a lot of time and material.
Time, material, money. The material itself comes on a spool, much like it's actually quite a lot like weed whacker line. And the material itself is fed through the extruder via, usually there's a system of gears.
Right.
This model actually functions on a tube where the filament goes in over here, gets pushed through the tube and directly into the hot end.
Nice.
And from there it's on the plate.
And you just directed me here. I mean, I don't really use them, but I know how they work. But, right, you have the control panel here.
Yes.
So you basically you design your product in like a CAD type program.
Exactly.
It's really design modeling program.
Yeah.
And you can download a lot of models
that
already.
Is true.
There's huge communities out there.
Oh, the community is massive.
How do you get just to tell the audience, how do you get that file into the little mini computer here that runs this?
So to explain the process roughly from point A to point, really it's point A through Z. There's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah.
But to break it down, you get your file of a 3D object, and you can either create it or download it. Like you said, there are many sources online that you can get thousands of models from. You take the file itself and you run it through a processing software called a slicer that takes the physical model and it slices it into individual layers that it can then turn into a set of instructions for the printer to do. And typically, you just take the file and you put it onto either a USB flash drive or an SD card, and you just take it from the computer, put it into the printer, and it reads the file.
Wow. That's quite amazing.
Yeah, it is.
And this little control panel here allows you to see what's going on.
Yep.
I can see right now it shows the temperature of the material, what's going on, and the coordinates, where it's actually moving in the 3D space.
Yep. And it also gives you a progress bar as to the status of the print.
Yes, because this is not a fast process.
Oh, not at all. In fact, I started a print that I'm working on for the shop, where we're replacing the stickers that we put on our cases with little 3D printed badges.
Right.
One of those badges on their own can take up to 20, 30 minutes, and it's just a tiny little sticker-sized thing.
Right.
No bigger than a keychain.
Right. And the material that you said earlier, it's basically, I remember when 3D printing started, the only type of material that was really out there was the regular PLA.
Yeah.
Which is, the kind of material you really can't use for any kind of production. It's just, it melts. So
yes, and I'm glad you're bringing that up because PLA has remained one of the easiest plastics to use for printing, and it's remained one of the most versatile in general.
Right.
But for the most part, if you print something out of PLA and you leave it in your car, it will melt. It will
I have done that before.
Exactly.
Somebody printed something for me before in the past. I was very happy and proud of it. I put it in my trunk, and then next day I found it, and it was a puddle. It was gone.
It can happen for sure.
Yes.
But luckily, the industry is broader than you can imagine, and there are dozens, if not hundreds, of different plastic types and different colors, different forms of plastic, and you can find one really to suit just about any need.
So at our shop now, at ACT Computers, we actually started investing into 3D printing. We actually have 3D printers in stock.
Yep, come pick up one of these.
Glasses we actually have the filament, tons of different colors, and so we can help you with getting that started for you. The most interesting thing I've seen with this is the simplicity we have with this now. This is now a kit that you can assemble, or we can show you how to assemble.
Correct. Yep.
So it's not rocket science anymore.
Yep.
And also the material is now that we use is not PLA. What is that?
We do have some PLA.
Yeah, we do.
We carry just basic colors of PLA, black, white, and clear. But what we primarily have in color is a plastic called PETG, which is very similar to it. It's actually a modification of the plastic that we use in water bottles.
Okay.
So the company that we buy it from actually creates their plastic spools out of recycled water bottles and recycled plastics in general. And it is used for generally things that need to be a bit more rigid, things that need to be a bit more durable.
Right.
And it carries a bit of resistance to heat and UV radiation, which makes it good for a car ornament potentially.
Right.
That's something with PLA.
I've seen what you print lately, and I'm quite amazed by the quality of it. And as you mentioned, that material is recycled.
Yeah.
It's actually made here in the States.
Yes, that is true. Up in New York.
Yep, we signed up with a manufacturer, and they're supporting us nicely.
Yep, Richard, wonderful guy.
Richard. What's the company name?
Greengate 3D.
Greengate
up in New
3D.
York, run by Richard Cyberfield. We've had a lot of communication with him. Great guy. Really, really nice.
Greengatescd.com?
Greengate3D.com. Go look him up.
Yeah. Yeah, one day I need to visit him up there.
He said he might actually be coming down sometime during the summer. He's got an employee moving to Orlando, so he'd like to come see us.
Yeah. So we're going to show off some of the stuff here.
True, yeah.
So what do we have here that we just printed? I see it right here. A chess piece you made?
Yeah. I 3D printed a whole chess set at one point, but you can also do individual pieces pretty easily. You can see this is a knight that I printed. We have a nice little boat.
Yes.
You actually use this boat to benchmark a 3D printer.
They call it a benchy, right?
Yeah, it's called a benchy.
So
it has it printed somewhere on it.
We have a good friend, a customer. His name is Jim. And he will see it right away and know what it is. When you get into 3D
every
printing,
3D printer knows this.
And when you get into 3D printing, you're going to have a lot of these guys around because what are they used for? What are they done?
It is, as its name suggests, a benchmark. It is a benchy. Specifically, it just the part itself has a lot of factors and shapes that are very difficult for a 3D printer to replicate.
Can you put it in the bathtub? Does it work?
Fortunately, no. Actually, a lot of these plastics are hydroscopic, meaning they absorb water. Putting it in the bathtub, not a good idea, unfortunately.
Okay. But when you start 3D printing, you're going to have a lot of these around just to calibrate your printer and make sure things are working.
Yeah. tells you a lot. If something is wrong with your printer, you will know it with this.
Right, right.
And there's a massive community as well surrounding this boat that will tell you how to troubleshoot based on what you find with the actual boat itself.
Yeah, and here what we have is a donut.
Oh yes, that was sent to us by Richard. Actually, he's a funny guy.
So this is actually just
a two-piece donut.
Just a storage thing.
Yeah, you can use it to store, jewelry or sprinkles,
Wow,
whatever.
and then you just made keychains for our company.
Yes, I'm in the process of making promotional material, so I'm mass producing these keychains, as you can see. Just tiny little things, no bigger than, I want to say, 30 millimeters.
Things like this.
Oh, yeah, that too. You can print multi-part things.
Yeah,
that's a very nice
amazing.
one.
How long does this take to print?
Oh gosh, the blue part, better part of 18 hours, and the text itself was like maybe 6.
And then of course also we can see here for our nice host here, Red Palmer, at the Virus Voice show, we printed his logo for him in 3D.
I did that.
He actually engineered that with the stand, so I'm quite amazed at that, how he made it so that it actually indents into the stand and fits in. So that's some real engineering right here. And my favorite.
Oh, my favorite
right
too.
Here, the sword.
Yep.
This is actually a sword. I used to be a fan of He-Man when I was growing up.
Hey, it's the Master Sword from Legend of Zelda.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's
equally nerdy, but different side of the same coin.
A He-Man sword. Yeah.
Will do.
I'll use it every morning. So,
I'm sure it exists.
Anyway, so in this thing actually, it opens up.
Yep.
So isn't that amazing? This is actually a retractable. It's not a sword, it's just a toy. It's made out of plastic, obviously.
It's no different than the lightsabers you find in Walmart, But
yeah, but you can print this yourself. And you can scale this in any size,
yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah, you can make it any size you want. That's roughly the recommended size, it's hand size, but you can make it as big or as small as you want.
You can make me a toothpick. Huh?
Exactly. Cool. You got it.
That's a conversation piece right there.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That's amazing. Yeah, so let's also talk about a couple other things.
Yes.
3D printing has, when we first think about it, it's like, okay, this is something for the hobbyist at home, but it really has gone way past that.
Yeah, it has exceeded expectations as far as that goes, for sure.
So, like I said, the community is humongous, and also we see the industry using this quite a bit.
Yes.
So,
in general, it's becoming viable as a method of replicating parts, prototyping parts. And just in general, if you need something custom fitted, you can change the tolerances of these parts down to 0.01 millimeters.
It's so amazing. And
crazy.
this is just an inexpensive printer.
Yeah,
there are
this
printers
printer
that cost
right here.
so much money, and
there are printers that
print your whole
cost
house.
hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Right.
And this one costs $200, and I've been able to crank out all this stuff.
Right. Yeah. So we're almost ready to go on a break here.
Okay.
But I think after the break we are going to talk about more applications for 3D printing.
Yes, there are tons of them.
Because
for sure.
if you read the news, 3D printing is everywhere.
Yeah, I think we just 3D printed the first human ear. That was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Wow.
I'll tell you about the details of that in a minute.
I look forward to that. So yeah.
Yep. It's a fun one.
Anyway, so this thing is printing right now. We're at 30 seconds for our break here.
Yep.
But so this is actually printing. What is it printing?
That's one of the early designs for the case badge that I was working on.
Okay.
Remember one of the big square ones I showed you? Yeah.
And this thing is going to finish in. I don't know if we'll finish with the end of the show, but we'll have something.
It might.
We'll have something
Yeah.
to show.
Have something to leave.
Anyway, this one is an inexpensive printer, but good starter model and great for home.
Oh, fantastic
We
starter
have
model.
the shop. And we'll be right back after the break.
Yes, absolutely.
ACT Computers is your local full-service computer center
Here with my technician Jeremy, our 3D printing expert. So if you have any problems or questions about 3D printing, you can come to our store,
Yep.
which is where we're located.
1525 US 1, right in that old Kmart Plaza.
Yeah,
And, yeah, nestled behind the post office.
exactly.
Kind of hard to find us, but come on by.
Really can't miss us when you walk out of the Majestic and you look left. There
yeah.
you go, see us sign right away. But we talk about 3D printing today, and we have another 15 minutes to do so.
Yep.
So applications, obviously, I have seen everything lately from industry using printers to print shoes.
Yeah, that's a big one. Certain filaments can replicate the properties of, if not be rubber.
Right.
So you can do just about anything wearable with that.
Exactly. It was like I think Nike actually has their first 3D printed shoe out now for sale.
Yep, it's a thing. It's pretty great.
Quite
actually.
amazing.
Yeah, and there are people looking into 3D printing fabric in general. So
Fabric?
3D printed clothes, mass-produced clothes, or something we're going to see in the future. Severely cutting down on the labor issues that we see in a lot of places, for sure.
And also, you can print things that are impossible to make by hand.
That's true as well. I mean, something like this would have ordinarily taken you hours, if not days, to carve out of wood, and it's something that's so intricate and so detailed that only something like a machine can replicate it.
In the store, you didn't bring it with you, but you actually printed a 3D chessboard, too.
Yeah,
beautiful.
Yeah, a full chess set, full chessboard in beautiful black and gold PLA.
Yeah. It looks amazing. And we also have we printed things like lampshades and stuff like that.
Things, you can do vases, you can do anything decorative.
When it comes to application like that in this industry, I see things happening with shoes, for example. And instead of the future is what they're talking about is instead of having warehouses full of material and products, is have 3D printers ready to print and printing all 24 hours a day the products that we need.
Exactly.
So instead of things going out of style and you have a shoe that nobody buys anymore,
no reason to throw out an entire warehouse of stock.
So you just print the shoes you want and send to the customer.
Exactly.
So amazing.
Seriously, that's one part of it for sure.
Also, I've seen houses now 3D printed. You've seen that, right?
Yeah. They're using recycled plastics in like second and third party countries or world. Sorry.
Yeah.
They're using the plastics themselves from recycling materials and building it into bricks, and they use composite materials to stick them together into houses. It's crazy.
Yeah, I've also seen those 3D printers actually print with concrete. So they actually basically it's like you have to imagine it's like a big arm going around, similar just like this. It's just a big rig constructed over the property, and it's printing the house from the bottom up.
Yep.
And layer by layer.
Actually, there's even aeronautics grade 3D printers that print the hulls of rockets using aerospace aluminum, and the printers themselves melt the metal using lasers that would blind you standing in the same room as them. And I mean, it functions fundamentally the same way. It's kind of crazy.
And I was going to touch back on the community that surrounds 3D printing.
Seriously, there is
humongous.
Avid community.
I use Facebook, and I'm part of these groups now, and I see these messages all the time of people having competitions with each other, showing off what they printed. And they say, okay, this thing broke, instead of buying.
Stuff like that for pennies on the dollar.
Right.
I mean, one of these spools of plastic that you find here, in the neighborhood of $20-$30.
Right.
And I mean, that's a whole kilogram of plastic. You can do a whole kilogram of prints for very cheap, really.
So I've seen some more customers. We're starting to introduce this to them slowly, and hopefully we'll be training some of the staff about it. So,
yes, absolutely.
So let's think about the scenario. You have a car repair shop, or you have a classic car repair shop. You can't find certain parts anymore.
Exactly.
You can make it yourself. and then you can either remake it in wood or metal, but at least you have the model in front of you. Or let's say you make a door handle out of plastic on the inside.
That too.
That is perfectly capable of doing this. So
And even if you can't use that material, you can use it as a cast or a mold for a proper metal or something along those lines.
Right. Because it's a real print. Let's say you break off the vent in your car air conditioner. You can make a new vent.
Exactly. You can make it whatever color you want.
Yeah, anything. Make
Bedazzle your car.
Pink. There you go.
Exactly. And to touch back on what you said about cars, there are, for a few tens of thousands of dollars, which is obviously a lot, but for, mid business or industrial level businesses, like our very own Don's Import in town, they could absolutely purchase I think it's SLA 3D printer that uses lasers to solidify like metal sand, and it builds that in layers.
Pulls it out of the sand. I've seen it. It looks amazing.
And you can use it to build parts for
reminds
cars.
me of Star Trek.
Yeah,
it's
and
amazing.
seriously. And if you can't find the part, if you can't find a model of the part, you can hire an engineer to replicate the part to the closest of his abilities, and you can print that and use it as a replacement.
Right.
Because, these programs, they work on very precise measurements down to the millimeters, and you can use it to replicate just about anything.
Right.
Seriously.
Yeah, we're going to see this a lot more in businesses for many applications.
Yeah.
So we can start seeing, car industries using it heavily already, and they actually started with this a long time ago.
Yeah.
They had this way before we had it.
Oh, yeah. The additive manufacturing in general is decades-old technology. I want to say the first patents were somewhere in the 1980s.
Yeah.
So it's been around.
Exactly. So it's nothing really new. It's just come to the point now where the home user can actually use it without having to invest in a lot of money.
It's finally in the mainstream. It's finally in the hobbyist market, for sure.
So, if you can build a small kit car, you can build this thing together, no problem.
Oh, yeah.
It's the same thing. Other industries we see also, and I saw a post just about this now, about obviously building homes, for example. I read that in the past, a lot of home designers that built homes, they did a 3D drawing, obviously, they still do that, but they also then made a cardboard.
You would build a
model.
physical diorama of it to, show scale. And
exactly. And nowadays, you can print that right on here. So without having to do this, you can take your CAD model and print it straight on one of these printers and then send it to your customer.
Precisely.
That's a huge improvement right there. Because, it's nice to see something on the screen that's virtual.
Of course.
But having it on your hand and being able to look at it, that's a totally different,
Yeah, for a fact.
Oh, yeah. It's hands-on stuff. So,
exactly. And adding to that, even the medical industry is starting to get very heavily into this.
Yes.
Because obviously 3D printers are not restricted to just plastic. There are metal 3D printers. There are, there's even some 3D printers that can use wood grain material.
Yeah.
And more recently, there are medical offices and industries looking into using actual cells and biological matter to print on a plate, just like this is doing.
Right.
I think, like I mentioned earlier, very recently we 3D printed a human ear based on, I think they sampled...
Well, we didn't in the shop.
Oh.
We can't do that, no.
If only.
I wouldn't do it anyway. But
Yeah, it was weird. But I think what they did is they harvested the guy's like skin cells and they grew it in a petri dish and fed that to a 3D printer and it replicated his ear.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
My experience was, what I heard in the past about 3D printing for medical is it started, I think, with more like knee replacements.
Yeah.
And
for prosthetics and inserts and things of that nature.
Because you have to imagine, if you get like a knee replaced, it's it's basically a certain size you get put in there.
Exactly.
But imagine they take a scan of your knee, the good size knee, and then they duplicate it, mirror it, and then they have a perfect copy of the other side.
Yeah.
So,
And most of that stuff is custom fitted anyway. Imagine being able to get an exact replica of your kneecap flipped around and put into your leg.
Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I see a little pop-up here saying we're getting close to the end of the show. We got 3 minutes.
Yes, indeed.
So
What can we do in 3 minutes?
I don't know. We can play bingo, but no, not yet.
It takes too much setup.
Yeah. But no, I think we covered a lot with 3D printing.
We
don't
did.
We don't go too much into it. Like again, if you want to experience 3D printing, we have a 3D printer running during daytime in
Actually,
ACT.
this very printer
Runs all day long. Come by, pick up something for free. A little model. We always give these things away.
We've got keychains now.
We don't give that away. That's mine.
No,
but
that's precious. That's precious.
But we have lots of things on hand, and we're the only store really that actually stores and sells PLA.
In our
and
area,
material.
I'm pretty sure we are the only place that sells filament printers in general. So if you have one at home, by all means, come on by. We'll, help you out.
And what about the classes? Were you doing that too slowly
the
now?
classes briefly. They're kind of at a standstill just because we haven't had many signups yet. But if you're interested in learning about 3D printing, we are starting to offer classes on the beginner level to get you a printer, get you acquainted with it, get it built with you, and sort of get you on your feet as far as 3D printing goes. I forget the exact pricing details, but
it's on our website.
It's on our website.
But basically, in our beautiful showroom, we have one section that's dedicated for the classroom. So we're talking about 8-10 people having a small, intimate classroom and having a couple 3D printers that you can work on, and we can teach you exactly how to use and handle this thing. And it's quite amazing. I mean, we did a test run a couple of times now, and it worked quite well. So we're looking forward to that in the future too. Anyway, I think we have about 1 minute and 30.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'd just like to say thank you for joining us in our show here.
Yes,
it's been one of my long-time dreams, I have to admit. Not for my own ego, but to be on a show where I can talk about technology, because I've dealt with computer technology or stuff like this since I was 6 or 7 years old. Since I had my Commodore 64 or my VIC-20 in the old days, in the early 80s. And it's amazing to talk about technology because there's so much to talk about. And like I said,
show, really, just in general.
Yeah.
It's nice to be able to put your voice out there and, if not inform people, at least get people interested in it.
Right.
Because it's going in a great direction, frankly.
Well, a long time ago, you probably don't remember this, but we actually used to have a show on, not a show, it was a show on TV called The Screensavers. Really? Which is a really cool show. That was just a live show every day about technology. And I watched that every day. It was really cool. And a lot of people watched it. So anyway, again, thank you for joining us.
Yes,
I think we're about 25 seconds.
Yeah, about 20.
Yes. And
it's been great to be here, seriously.
Next week we'll have another guest. Like I said, we'll have a guest on talking about eye care technology and how that works.
Yep.
And how to look at these things. So when you go to the eye care doctor next time, you know what you're looking at. Thank you very much for joining us. Until next time.
Have a good one.